Hi, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Brian.
And welcome to our Basecamp Barn Project. In the second part of our spring vacation, we get to go visit places like Glacier National Park, Coeur D'alene, Idaho, Wallace, Idaho,
and more. Let's have some more fun before we embark on our barn build. Last episode, we began our spring vacation. We traveled from Rawlins, Wyoming to just outside of Glacier National Park while visiting Yellowstone National Park and Red Lodge, Montana. I'll leave a link below for that video. In this video, we'll spend some time in Glacier and attempt to drive the Going to the Sun Road. But first, how about this camp spot? We're camping just outside of Glacier on the west side of the North Fork Flathead River. Big Creek is a national forest campground with no hookups, but very close to the Glacier West entrance, Camas Creek. Our camp spot was right by the river, and boy was it flowing. The next morning, we drove into the park at the Camas Creek entrance. This way in was just about solid trees. But shortly after passing the west entrance gate, there was a beautiful view spot where we could see the surrounding peaks. Man, do we love the Rocky Mountains. As usual, national parks and dogs don't mix. We had very few options here in Glacier with our dog Kenai, but the parking lot by the lake was wide open, and what a view. We got lucky because it was another beautiful day for a drive. We found a nice little pullover spot and soaked in the views. Yet again, our drive would be cut short. The Going to the Sun Road was closed just past Lake McDonald Lodge. As we've learned on this trip, even late May is too early in the season for all these destinations in the north. We're wondering if early fall would be better, maybe on the way back from Alaska? With the national park's new policy of purchasing entrance passes, without a pass, you don't get in. Even on the less popular roads like the Pole Bridge entrance, none were available. So we enjoyed the rest of our day inside the park by following the roaring McDonald Creek. we had to say goodbye to Glacier, at least for this trip. Such a beautiful national park. We will be back. The next morning, we packed up, hooked up, and drove 200 miles to Wallace, Idaho. What a quirky little town. Just off of I-90, we ended up driving the wrong way under the freeway to the campground, which was squeezed into the narrow valley between two hilltops that we never saw because of all the low clouds. We set up camp in the rain and walked into town afterwards in the rain. First thing we discovered was this incredible bike path, part of the Trails to Rails Conservancy. The 73-mile-long Trail of the Coeur D'alene was built over an abandoned branch of the Union Pacific Railroad. Here's the odd thing about this branch line. It was built using hazardous mining tailings. An attempt to clean up the mess was ordered, but because the route was so long, only some of the toxic materials were removed. The rest was capped with asphalt, perfect for a bike trail. As we walked into town, we started seeing these signs. 213 steps to the center of the universe? 127 steps? What in the world's going on here? As it turns out, there's a special manhole cover square in the middle of the town center intersection. In 2004, the mayor made a proclamation that declared Wallace and this manhole cover to be the center of the universe.
It's that thing in the manhole cover.
Their argument relies on the theory of probabilism. If you cannot prove that Wallace is not the center of the universe, then it must be the center of the universe. Look closely at the center of the universe manhole cover, and you'll see 4 sets of initials bordering the figure of a miner. These are the initials of 4 prominent silver mine companies in the area. Before Wallace called itself the center of the universe, it called itself the silver capital of the world. Over 1.2 billion ounces of silver have been found around this small town. It's amazing what you'll find even on these quick overnight stays. I love this country. Next time through here, we'll have to bring our bikes. The next morning, we pack up and head out the correct way over this weight-rated bridge. We're heading to Coeur D'alene, or past it a little bit to our next camp spot, Bonner County Fairgrounds in Sandpoint, Idaho, 95 miles away today. A short but rainy drive. Coeur D'alene is a very lovely lake town with the longest floating pier in the world. Luckily, it didn't rain on us during our lunch outside, but as we walked the pier, the clouds got lower, it got colder, and yes, it started to rain on us again. Once again, we'd love to come back with just a little better weather. The next day dawned a little clearer, and we decided to drive around Lake Ponderay. Boy, was that a great decision. Glacial ice formed much of the topography in the northwest, along with 3 mountain ranges. Lake Ponderay is the 5th deepest, 38th largest, and arguably one of the most beautiful lakes in North America. We stumbled upon the Cabinet Gorge Dam. Even though it had RV parking, information boards, and a cool old turbine wheel, the entry was poorly marked. But wow, full pond, all gates wide open. What a view. Water has tremendous power. We had to catch our breath after that. Then we got the call, power to be installed in a week. So now we have a firm date to get back to Colorado. But first, let's finish this drive. We crossed over this beautiful bridge, and out of the corner of my eye, I caught another waterfall. The road to the bottom of the canyon wasn't marked, and it really wasn't set up for tourists at all. But the view at the bottom was worth the work. There was a lot of water flowing through this canyon underneath this bridge. Even though we couldn't get too close to it, you could sure feel it and hear it. The next morning, we emptied our holding tanks and topped off our fresh water. We were going to be dry camping nearly the entire trip back to Colorado. The road we used to view all the waterfalls yesterday is the same road we decided to use to head south on today. It was good to pre-run it because on the map it looked questionable for big rigs like ours. We fueled up in Missoula, then headed south to Salmon, Idaho. It was a 326-mile hop. In Salmon, we found the Morgan Bar Campground, a nice little BLM campground right next to the Salmon River. What a find! The campground camp host said there was a forest road behind the campground that had great views of the mountains. So we got up early and made a coffee run. What a great way to start the day! even in the rain, you gotta get that empty straight road selfie shot. Certainly helps with the Sawtooth Mountains in the background. I think I've said this before, but man, we love being in the mountains. We're heading south to a boondock spot we thought was close to one of Guido's favorites here in the Sawtooth Mountains.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Keep cutting it. Yes.
We follow Guido and his grand adventure on his YouTube channel. Our original goal was to spend a couple days here.
Okay, you have 4 feet to back up.
And tour around Ketchum and Sun Valley to get a feel for those legendary towns. But because of our change in plans, we just didn't have the time this trip. This was another fantastic spot. Once again, it was painful to leave, but we had to go. We were heading for the Craters of the Moon National Monument. The campground there is first come, first serve, and we were early. There's really only about 3 camp spots in this here campground that's big enough for our big rig, and we were early enough to get one of them. What an unusual campground with all this lava rock around. We spent the rest of the afternoon walking around some of the park trails, getting a feel for this unusual place. Once again, we had to cut our visit short. We both agree that we'll need to come back to this place and spend some more time here. For sure, one of the highlights was camping amongst all of this volcanic rock. With over 500 miles to go to get back home, it was going to be a long drive day. We got back just in time to see the power company show up. Our excavation contractor had already dug the trench in preparation for them. The power company reset the transformer, then pulled the heavy wire through the conduit to our waiting panel. Here's the deal. We wanted enough power for 2 buildings, the RV barn and a 3-bedroom farmhouse, 200 amp service to each. We needed a 400 amp panel to supply that much service. Current lead times for a 400 amp panel is over 15 months out. This won't be the first time we complain about supply chain issues. Even sourcing a 200 amp panel is troubling right now. Our electrical contractor installed a used 200 panel that he had in his possession. We had the power company run the larger 400 amp wires. So in the future, when we can get a 400 amp panel, we'll be able to install it.
Thanks for watching our barn project.
And next episode, we'll be digging holes for our septic system. Until then, see ya!